get it confused.
There's a lot of similarities.
Have you listened to the show from last week?
I have not.
I have not yet.
You got to do that.
Okay.
Art's got a good thing out there about marriage that he threw out
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to listen.
I can't see. I'm trying to get to Facebook, but my glasses are in the way.
It's funny, me and Cody were out about Tuesday evening. It's about time we started gathering, in this show. And I think I told Cody, I said, I feel kind of weird. I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere else.
It's working.
Yeah, we're on. I just looked. Thanks for telling me.
Say that again.
You heard me.
Oh, not you, Danny.
Yeah, me and Cody were out and about, out on the pier.
The heart of every man craves a great adventure, but life doesn't usually feel that way. Jesus speaks of narrow gates and wide roads, but the masculine journey is filled with many twists and turns. So how do we keep from losing heart while trying to find the good way when life feels more like a losing battle than something worth dying for? Grab your gear and come on a quest with your band of brothers who will serve as the guides in what we call the masculine journey. The masculine journey starts here now.
Welcome to Masculine Journey. This is Danny, and we're here another week. And forgive I may sound a little hoarse. It's not because I rode one or maybe the Mr. Ed show. I don't know. So, but anyway,
Easy, Wilbur.
It's an effect of some of the medication I'm on. But hopefully we'll make it through the show. If not, there'll be silent radio and or a commercial break or something. I don't know.
Yeah, just act out your own masculine journey.
Yeah, you'll go live Facebook and I'll sign something. Or
we're going to mime it because we're on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we'll mime it on YouTube or something like that. We won't get in trouble that way. But or we might.
We might get in more trouble.
You might get in more trouble. Anyway,
it just depends.
So, we're here. And Andy, you have the topic this week. So we'll set us up there.
Before you get going, Andy, I don't know what's happening. Last week we were down about half the numbers. We were down to 6 last week. We're normally up at 10, 11, something like that.
It's Masculine Journey, and then there were none.
Yeah, I think we're working our way there.
Yeah,
because we're down to 4 this week.
Yeah.
I would say it's a team. It's the available team. Like we
the available team.
It's the available team. But we're down to 4, and so I don't know what next week looks like at this point. The way we're going,
you guys used to barely get 4.
Yeah, that's true. There was a season when we'd have 3 almost routinely.
Season, you say?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Sounds like a setup.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Really. Was that intentional or just
you've
heard that word?
It's how I speak. Yeah, it's how I speak.
Sound like Jim.
Yeah, well, no,
Do you have a soliloquy, Sam?
No, mine's a 2-letter or 2, whatever it is.
2 something.
Syllable word. Yeah. See, even syllable's too big for me. It's a 2-syllable word where Jim would have like a 12-syllable word that means the exact same thing.
It's not sophisticated enough. It's not long enough.
Yeah.
So, Andy, you want to set this up?
Yep. So, Sam mentioned season there. So, we have been talking about season. So, personally, Sam and I were talking about this. Sometimes our shows come from just straight from God, I think.
Well, I think hope.
Exactly. But it may be something that's on God's heart at the time or whatever, that maybe we're not really going through it. But I think a lot of times it's with God and what God's doing in our life personally at that time. And that's what this one is for me. I think the intimacy show we had last week was had to do with Sam popping the question to Misty. So for me, for where I'm at, this idea of seasons, I never really looked at life like that. Life was you just run it to the end. But then when you look at the Bible, there's a variety of seasons in these Bible stories that we see. We see it in David's life. We see it in Moses. Moses grew up in Egypt, failed delivering the Israelites, went to the back side of the desert for 40 years, came back, led him to the promised land. Joseph, a lot of seasons in his life, a lot of disappointment, a lot of character building in times of being alone. And so it just got me thinking about that. And then we talk about the stages of the masculine journey. Anybody want to read those off?
Yeah, it's boyhood, cowboy, ranger, right? It's
Warrior.
You gonna let me do it, or you gonna do it?
No,
Okay.
I want to do it. The one I could remember, I want to do it.
Yeah, okay.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you have warrior, lover, king, and sage.
That's right.
Yeah.
So those are a way of looking at life in seasons, but and I think there's more than that. You could just simply say the natural, or the way that we look at stuff in society is, you will go through high school, college, get married, have children, be grandparents. That's another example. So anyway, how it came up to me was, I feel like God is leading me into a new season in my life. Had the situation, was married and been separated for quite some time, but I went to Boone for a while. My daughter went to school up there, and I've been up there. I've been up there about 8.5 years, and this is away from all the people I know. I love the mountains, and I've made a lot of great friends and groups I'm a part of up there, but that's not where most of my friends and family are. And I feel like I started feeling last fall that I wanted to come back, and I just had to pray it out to whether I felt like God wanted me to come back. And so anyway, I began to pray about it, and I really felt like it was supposed to happen this spring. A friend of mine approached me and said, "Hey, my daughter's up there. Can she rent your cabin?" I've wanted to keep the cabin, and it kind of worked out. And then I had a place to land here, my mom's old place. But in all doing all that, I just felt like God was in it. And then I always like to get confirmation and hear from God. And there's been 3 things. He usually speaks to me in three things. He'll give me the first word and then confirm. And that's kind of what happened, without going into a lot of detail. But I started thinking, whenever I made this deal to rent out my place, I went and said, that seems like when I bought my house up there, after I'd tried things out for 1.5 years, I went and looked at the calendar of when I actually bought the place, and then when I'm renting it out, and it's 7 years to the day that I'll be leaving there. So, that God, I think, you even uses stuff like that to confirm. So I have I'm kind of apprehensive of what it'll look like and stuff. I've become comfortable up there, but yet I'm also excited to see what God is going to do and what the purposes are. I mean, he specifically told me in a time of prayer that he has things for me to do here. And so I'm excited about coming back. So that's where this idea of seasons comes from. But there's so much more. Everybody's got different seasons. And sometimes these seasons are, time of being alone and growth and maturity. Sometimes they're just basking in the glow of God, and, everything's working right. And, there's just a variety of times in our life. I know each one of us has a story about what we're going through right now and the seasons God has us in. I just feel like it's appropriate time to have this show.
Yeah, there's a time for me when I would look at, okay, there's what I'm doing now, and then there's the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right. But, the rest of my life is broken down in so many things. Even when you're a parent and you have kids, you have the infant season when the kids are really small.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have toddler, then you have, yeah. Those are all different seasons where I have to be a different type of parent. Yes, my yes is still yes. My no is still no. Right. How I approach that with the child has to change to what they can hear. Then there's the crazy teenage years. Right.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's also just financial seasons in your life where you go through some real struggle, and then you get to the place where you're not struggling as bad, and you're like, oh, I'll never struggle again. Oh yeah, you probably will.
Right.
It's just another season that's coming, and realizing the good thing about seasons are they don't last forever.
No.
Right. They're going to pass.
Yep.
And so, some are harder seasons, some are easier that you get some R&R.
Yeah.
Right. But the constant thing about life is it always changes.
Yep. To your point, it's very scriptural, and it came to pass. That's
right.
in the Bible quite a bit. So Yeah, hopefully we can just dig into this and get you to thinking about your life. I think another point that we made in the pre-show was, I love this quote. I've heard it first through the Wild at Heart guys, John Eldridge, I believe it was. Maybe it was Bart. But he said, life has to be lived forward, but understood backward. Yeah. And a lot of times we want to understand before we go. Well, that's not walking in faith. And that's not really trusting in God. He doesn't want to give us all the details. He tells us to trust him, and he'll order our steps. But it doesn't say you go do whatever you want to, and we'll see how it works out. That's not the plan. So anyway.
Yeah, I think that was Bart that said that.
Right. Talking about the calling.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, you had mentioned in your text when you sent this out, Ecclesiastes 3.
Right.
And it's all right, unless you got a plan, I was going to read it.
Go for it.
Because it says a time for everything. And to everything, there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, time to heal, time to break down, time to build up, time to weep, and a time to laugh, time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, time to gather stones together, time to embrace, time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And it goes on the time, but there's a time for everything. And, there is the childhood, those kind of things. Right. And there's everything is a season. I mean, God laid out the seasons, winter, summer.
Right.
I was picking at Rodney earlier, winter, summer, spring, and fall. But that's life too. There's right. a time that you're profitable, and there's a harvest.
Right.
And then there's a time of the land is resting or whatever and that kind of thing.
Right.
And so everything kind of rolls that way. So I like this topic. So
well, there's seasons of your faith.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so you have the milk season when you're barely getting, sustenance, right? And then you get to move into more of the solid foods.
Right.
Right. As you walk in your faith. And then there becomes a time when you're become more God is my father. Mm-hmm. Right. And all these build upon the other. You never get out of one. Because in some areas you're still getting milk, some you're into more meat, some, God's definitely living as your father. And then there's times where God is a friend.
Yep.
Right. In these seasons, as you grow closer in that intimacy, the relationship has different seasons, and our faith does.
That's right. I mean, even in what your heart goes to when you hear a different worship song, there are certain things that resonate that I liked years ago, but then there's new stuff that comes in that I like. I mean, aren't you glad that God gives us a variety in the life? Life isn't the same thing over and over and over. I think he knew that our hearts would need that. And that's a big part of the idea of this.
He definitely knows what our heart needs.
Yep.
And provides exactly what we need when we need it. And we start going through it. And it's just never easy to always look back and understand where he was at exactly and know exactly where he's going for the next season. But you do know there's another season.
Yeah.
You know that you're in, like Sam was saying, several at one time, because I'm starting in this one, I'm mature in another one, and you just live it.
Yeah, you live it for sure.
Yeah, going back to Ecclesiastes, the thing is, I think that where we get in trouble is when we try to rush into the next season.
Yeah.
Right, or we try to stay in a season that we're not supposed to be in any longer.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why things kind of fall apart.
Yeah. I'm not moving from here. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I'm stuck here. I'm going to stay here, and God, I'm not listening.
Yeah, I like it here, and I'm planting my feet here.
Yeah.
And he's taking the rugs out from under you, moving the furniture.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, we're coming up on a break. We got a boot camp coming up November 20th through the 23rd. Go to masculinejourney.org. Check us out.
Here are the contest rules for the Truth Network. Prizes won are not transferable, redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other prize. All prizes must be redeemed for the station within 30 days of winning. Only one prize per household from any station of Truth Broadcasting within any 30-day period. The rest of our contest rules are listed under the About Us link at our website, truthnetwork.com. Thanks for playing and listening to the Truth Network.
1 Corinthians 13:7 states, "Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance." God died so he can give you the ability to face situations with hope and endurance. And that's the voice of truth.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars we could reach were just a fish on the beach. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone.
So I was going to tell who that is, and I'm still looking it up. Somebody, the listeners probably know.
Well, you can talk about it. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's Terry Jacks or something like that. But that actually came from Harold. I mean, when we were talking about the topic last week, he suggested that. I thought it was a great one. Harold's not with us. He's not feeling well today. But anyway, I mean, Seasons of the Sun. I mean, that it touched on it. There's 3 choruses back to back there that it goes through. And, you know, the first one being, what was the first one?
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, and you're talking about
And
being
then
at the beach.
and
The
there's other
beach,
things.
yeah. What's that?
Then there's other things in there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quit messing this.
No, that song actually though, it takes me back to a season of my life. They used to play that at Fort Recovery skating rink when we were at skating, you know, for youth as a kid, and I remember that song quite clearly. And so when you played it, it takes me back to that place of a different season in my life, and that's kind of the cool thing about movies and memories and things. They take you back to where you were, and movies will do that, songs will do that, sounds will do that, smells will do that. How God created our brain to remember some of the seasons we've been in, either to be grateful that we went through them or to be glad that we're not in them anymore.
No doubt. It is Terry Jacks.
It is.
And I don't know the significance of all those chorus lines, but they are pretty cool. I know that. What?
I had a season in the sun last week.
You did. You did. And
Didn't really want to come back, but you know.
Yeah.
So
did you see any starfish there? I think he mentioned starfish.
No, I didn't see starfish. I did see a white egret that was the game warden said wasn't supposed to be on the pier. And I asked her, did she tell the white egret? It was kind of funny because he's been there 6 years. She's been there 6 months. Guess who's winning the battle?
Yeah.
So that was funny. So I guess I'm playing my clip now.
You are, yeah. Yep, go for it.
Yeah, well, my clip comes from City Slickers, and it's a movie clip we use at boot camp that is not my favorite, to be honest, but there's a section of it that was just perfect for this topic for me and where I'm at and kind of one of the stories I'm going to tell. So is they're in a classroom, it's career day, and Mitch, who is Billy Crystal, I got it right. Oh, man. That his son tells a lie and didn't, but he's supposed to be telling what he does, and you can just tell this guy's just checked out, and he's not happy where he's at. And it used to be one season, and then he goes on this. I'm gonna use Jim's word, soliloquy of the eras of life, the 20s, the 30s, and everything. Yeah. And part of it's just kind of perfect what I'm going to lead into. So we'll play it and talk about
it. Well, like Danny said, I work for WBLM Radio.
Are you a disc jockey?
No, I'm not a disc jockey. You know the commercials that are on the radio?
Oh, do you make all those commercials?
No. Other people make the commercials. I sell them time on our station for the commercials to be on.
So you decide which commercials to use and when?
That's right. Well, no, it's not right. It used to be right. Seems now that I even have to check with the station manager if I want to wipe my nose. The minute he took away my authority, I should have quit.
Mr. Robbins.
What? Value this time in your life, kids. Because this is the time in your life when you still have your choices. And it goes by so fast. When you're a teenager, You think you can do anything, and you do. Your 20s are a blur. 30s, you raise your family, you make a little money, and you think to yourself, what happened to my 20s? 40s, you grow a little pot belly, you grow another chin. The music starts to get too loud. One of your old girlfriends from high school becomes a grandmother. 50s, you have a minor surgery. You'll call it a procedure, but it's a surgery. 60s, you'll have a major surgery. The music is still loud, but it doesn't matter because you can't hear it anyway. 70s, you and the wife retire to Fort Lauderdale. Start eating dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You have lunch around 10, breakfast the night before. Spend most of your time wandering around malls looking for the ultimate soft yogurt and muttering, how come the kids don't call? How come the kids don't call? The 80s, you'll have a major stroke. You end up babbling to some Jamaican nurse who your wife can't stand, but who you call mama. Any questions?
Any questions? The what's interesting about that clip is that, you know, he's so checked out, and, you know, and his son's named Danny. So I immediately,
Oh yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Who's Danny?
Yeah.
Who's Danny? Yeah.
He was a poser.
Well, what I usually do is when somebody sends out a clip, Michelle will always ask my wife, what, you know, what's the topic this week? And I read it to her. I said, can't really think anything season wise. Can you help me? She said, really? Really? You know, so because I mean, y'all, I've mentioned it some on the show and everything, but you know, right now, the season we're battling stage 4 appendix cancer. And this was not what I signed up for. It was not in my
To-do list.
resolutions, you know, first year, hey, I think I'm going to have, you know, all these
Goals.
things. So in March, I had a procedure, an appendix procedure. It was a surgery, but we called it a procedure. And then we had a surgery where it was going to happen and then
That
didn't
you call
happen.
the surgery.
And now we're heading into a major surgery. And, you know, we got chemo going on, which is part of my voice thing. I also have chemo brain that I'll go on Screensaver, if you remember Screensaver days. And the train will derail. There'll be no survivors for a few
Please don't
seconds.
do that.
I'm trying not to. I really try to stay on topic. But you know, this is the season we're in. And what's interesting, Andy, when you brought it up, you know, when you hit something like this, I mean, there have been times when I feel like I've been hit in the face with a 2x6. You know, just, you know, they say this is incurable. This is, you know, and they give you time frames, and we've been through all that. And you just walk out of the doctor's office just stunned. And, you know, not a season anybody really wants to be in. But in this, I have found God at new levels. Sam, you were talking about how, you know, he's your friend, and those things of intimacy. And since this has begun, it began last year when my word for the year was beloved. And, you know, he really spoke into my sonship a whole lot last year. And unbeknownst to me, we talk about how words of the years, you know, kind of merged together. Well, this year was restoration. And I had all kinds of ideas. There were lots of things going on first of the year that we were moving into my mother-in-law's house, and there was lots of restoration that was going to have to happen down there on many levels. But that wasn't it. We were a part of a church that had some disrepair and spiritually, physically. And I thought, okay, God, this is beginning to make sense. Nope, that's not it. Then we come into March, and I realize, oh, you got something all together in mind. We're all doing something. And so, but in this journey, all the prayers and the prayer warriors, and it just keeps expanding and seeing God's hand do different stuff in this season, because Michelle and I were talking about it on the way to the beach and the way back, that you get put in a position where you have no choice but to know all you got is God. And that's it. Because, I mean, reality is I may not be here in 5 years. That's reality. Doesn't mean that's the end game. God's got this in control, but you have to face those things in a season. But what it has done, it has drove us into a deeper direction with Jesus.
Amen.
That just, and you know, I'm not some super spiritual saint. You hang out with me for a little while, you'll know that. But I understand that he's my friend. He's the one that sticks closer to a brother. And it has caused me to invite him into places that I've kind of kept to myself in those, you know, certain seasons. And like, God, you may as well have this too. And he's like, finally, Been waiting on that, and those kind of things. But it begins to open up and he begins to peel away layers. And it's really, strangely enough, has become a very fruitful season, I think, in the fact that, literally you're battling for your life. Your wife is, on the verge of a mental breakdown about any time sometimes, variably so. I mean, the man she loves, is sick. But I'm the healthiest sick guy you'll meet. And, but I've had encounters with people, random encounters with people. And this season, God is just like, hey, watch this. Hey, you need to meet this guy. I'm just going to bring him right into your life. Hey, my friend from Pakistan called me now. His family's praying for me in Pakistan. Really?
Amen.
And it's just a fascinating thing. And I know all journeys don't go that way. But right now, and this thing may turn. I don't know what it's going to do. But I trust him. And I'm learning to trust him even more. But sometimes I have to pray. God, I know you said you got this and you got me. But I'm waning a little bit today. Can you help me? And he usually shows me some white egret amongst a bunch of pigeons, or some guy shows up. We have a conversation. Next thing you know, we're talking about, hey, I survived. I've had 2 forms of cancer and I've survived, and that kind of thing, been shot at and everything else. I'm like, shoot, I just got a little bit of appendix cancer. I think I'm good, dude. Appreciate it. It's those kind of things that are just crazy. But they're God. That's God.
Amen.
People talk about supernatural Christianity. I got news for you. I think, and John Eldridge said it it's all supernatural because God's supernatural.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, it'd be sad the day we look at God as common and natural.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think there yes and no. I agree and disagree. I think that we should never look at him as common, but hopefully he becomes a natural part of our life.
Yeah.
Right.
That was given,
Yeah.
it's stated in a different context, but yeah.
Oh no, I just wanted to mess with you. No, I think, common
You
as
did.
an everyday.
You did.
Yeah,
It
every day. Man, absolutely. But I think the more, at least for me, that I make him common in my life, the better things go. It doesn't always turn out the way I want it to, right? But I'm in a better place. I'm in a better mental space.
Yep.
All those kinds of things when I know that I'm there with him, regardless of where we're going on that journey.
Yeah.
And common's always different for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
that flew by quick.
Speaking of common, we have a boot camp coming up, which is very uncommon most of the time. November 20th through 23rd. You can go to masculinejourney.org, register. You get more information about us. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube live on Tuesdays. And so check us out. And we hope to see you at boot camp.
Yeah. If you want to listen to past podcasts, you can go to any podcast location. You can go to our website, listen to it. Any information like that, if you want to reach out to any of us, it's our first name at masculinejourney.org. Right. So Danny at Masculine Journey, Andy at Masculine Journey. You got the rest. Talk with him next week.
Yep.
Coming to you from an entrenched barricade deep in the heart of central North Carolina, Masculine Journey After Hours, a time to go deeper and be more transparent on the topic covered on this week's broadcast. So sit back and join us on this adventure. The Masculine Journey After Hours starts here now.
Welcome to Masculine Journey After Hours. And we are, I would say, a skeleton crew, but none of us are close to being a skeleton. I'm just saying. So, I mean, we are healthy guys. But we are here again with another topic. And Andy, this is your topic, sir.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do the
Sir.
introduction.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's because
Go
he's
ahead.
wearing glasses. That's what he
Oh,
calls
that's
sir.
it.
Sir.
There you go.
Yeah.
finally got
That
respect.
makes sense.
He looks smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
We know though.
Yeah.
Shoot.
there we go.
Instead of wearing a hat next time, I'll wear a
I would have
tie.
said gentleman, but I mean,
Yeah.
that ain't happening.
Yeah. No.
Man,
No.
I don't know
Yeah,
what this,
be careful, Danny. Be careful.
but we thoroughly exhausted the definition of seasons or seasons of our life. In the last show, I won't, if you want to hear that, I think we went through a lot of different examples, and there's not one single definition that would give you an idea of it's more than just one thing that you're going with. I think Stan mentioned at the break that you could be going through multiple seasons at a time, and for that particular area of your life. And I think that's true. And it just why I brought it up. To me personally, I think all of us are going through some different seasons. And personally, I've been away from the area for some time, excited about coming back. I believe God has moved me or pointed me or directed me to come back to this area to live. And I'm excited about that. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the other season of where I was living, but it's just a distinct cut, I believe, that he does in lives. And there's plenty of Bible stories to support that. But again, you can go back and hear all that on the first show. I think we spent the whole first half of the last
Oh, let's
show.
go over it again.
No.
I don't remember what we said, Andy. Can you recap, please?
You really want to burn your time that way?
No, I know.
There's a whole season tied up in
Well,
that.
one of the other seasons that we didn't talk about that I thought about was, we go through a season, if you have kids, of raising your kids, and you think, okay, now it's a time that I can just kind of rest. But then there's the season of taking care of your parents as they're getting older, and their health starts to fail, right? And it's just like, wow, I go from one right into the other. And
Yep.
so it's a constant changing,
Yeah.
little tickle
Right.
as I smack the microphone.
Whoa.
Hey now. Anyway,
We graduated all the way
Yeah.
to microphones, mouses,
Yeah.
staplers, now
I know,
microphones.
yeah, it's nothing safe around me. I'll say that.
One last point too, though, is a lot of times God moves you from one stage to the other for you to bear fruit in that stage based on what the growth that you've experienced in another stage. But I think the enemy sees it too, and I think he gets in the way. Just like our calling, he opposes it. And I feel like early in this year, he knew what was coming. I had talked about it with other people. Enemy sensed it. I don't know. I just feel like I know there was some times earlier in this year where I didn't feel good. I didn't have energy, and I felt opposed, and I was getting very frustrated. And I cried out to God a couple times, and I had friends that came through for me and encouraged me and helped me along with the way with some stuff. And that's something else I think that we need. I mean, when Moses was stuck on the backside of the desert, he got direction from Jethro, I believe it was, and spoke into his life and how to take
May have
some of
been
the
Ellie
next
May.
step. Yeah,
I'm
I
really
knew,
not sure.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
I
I
knew
know
it
you
was
did.
gonna,
Granny
I
came
knew there was
by
going to be a
there.
clampet in there somewhere. But anyway, God is all up in the changes and the seasons of our life and helping us through. The Bible's full of it, of how he directs our steps, how we have to trust in him and he directs our steps. But we were talking earlier too. One last thing is that is that the reason there are seasons is life would be the same without it.
Yeah.
Just like we have weather seasons and there's variety in that. There's seasons of our life and it brings variety and growth.
So that's a recap you did want to do.
Oh yeah, exactly.
no,
Let's
just
get
what-
with it. All right.
I'm just kidding.
On some of
Sam?
the shows I watch, there's a skip recap button. I don't think we have one
No,
though.
we don't.
But you know,
Yeah.
so-
You can just
Sam,
mute
you-
Andy's mic.
Sam, don't you have a clip?
Yeah, I do.
Can you get on with the show, please?
I'll try to move on.
Oh, my
Quit
goodness.
making fun of you, Andy. You know, you're going to be gone here in a couple weeks
That's
for
true.
a little while, so I need to give you a hard time.
Yeah.
And I'll be gone.
Yeah,
too,
you
so.
will.
Anyway, so my clip is a clip from the TV show News Radio, which is an old show, 90s, maybe. I think it was. It was quite funny. Had some really good moments in it. But you had this guy that runs the radio station, and he owns a station, and he's single, and he meets this lady, and they haven't really dated, but they've kind of flirted a little bit, and he decides just to go up and propose to her. And so I want you to listen to this, and I'm going to talk about why I picked the clip after the clip, but I find it somewhat humorous and preposterous, but there is a moral to it. So we'll talk about that on the backside.
Melanie, I'm single, you're single. What do you say we get married?
Well, I'm glad you finally decided on the direct approach.
Yeah, well, I'm a businessman at heart.
As am I. What's your offer?
Single rich male seeks matrimony.
Primary residence?
Westchester County,
Would you be open to considering a secondary residence in Manhattan?
Central Park West.
South.
Done. Time spent together.
8 hours, 5 days a week.
7 hours, 12 hours weekends.
55 hours aggregate. Specifics to be determined later.
I'm amenable to that. Children.
1,
3.
2.
Done. But one of them has to be a male.
I'll see what I can do. Vacations.
December, Hawaii.
June, the vineyard.
June, fine, but Hawaii.
Nope, the vineyard.
Is that a deal breaker for you?
I'm afraid so.
Me too. Well, we gave it a shot.
I'm sure you'll find a better match.
Thanks for the time.
All right. So part of the reason I played that, obviously, if you listen to last week's show, you understand that I got engaged, right? And so I'm going to get married sometime next year. And I know when it is, but I'm not telling you. But it's next year. We're getting married, and we'd been dating for the better part of 9 years, with a little break in the middle there as we tried to get some things ironed out just individually. And there was a season. There was a season of dating. But that season got over, and it was a time to move on to the next step. And part of the reason I wanted to play that clip was, as ridiculous as that sounds, when you're getting married, this is not the first marriage for either one of us. When you're getting married for the first time and you're young, it's all about love and it's all about the future. And you may talk through a few little plans. Hey, we'd love to have kids, that kind of thing. But it's very high level. You know, there's no granular approach to it. When you're, I'm in my early 60s. She's in her mid 50s. And so I think she's okay with me telling you that, but I've already done it now. But anyway,
that will be determined.
It will be. Yeah, I'll if I'm here next week. You have different conversations. We're at a point in life where her life revolves around the area where she's in right now, which is about 45 minutes from where I live. My life revolves around the area I'm in, my work, the ministry stuff that I do. And so you have to navigate, okay, when we get married, where are we going to live, right? How long will we be there? What's retirement look like? When can we retire? What are we going to do when we retire? Are we on the same page with that kind of stuff?
Sounds pretty much like that clip, right?
It really does. But, the difference between them and us, there's love involved in ours, right? But it's more than love because you have logistics.
Yeah.
You also have to work out, neither one of us know where we're going to be health-wise in retirement. I can retire in 5 years. At 67, she can retire for her first time in 5 years. And so, are we both ready to at that point? And are we going to want to travel, and we're going to want to do these things and do my goals and her goals align, right? Because otherwise what happens, you get down the road and you have a huge disappointment. You have a reason for the enemy to step in and split, and it sounds silly, but you have to work through wills. You have to work through, okay, what things you want to make sure your kids get? What things do I want to make sure my kids get, from my life before now? What do we want to do with our previous assets and then shared assets? And, how's that all break up when something does happen? Because, at least for me, I'm at the second half of my life, well past the second half, right? I'm in the home stretch, and I don't know how many years that's going to be, hopefully a lot more. Right. But we don't know, but you have to prepare for that. And so it does look more like that negotiation at times. But like I said, ours has a lot of love there as well. And we know that that's where we want to go. And part of I've heard a lot from friends and family. Wow, finally, it took you long enough. Well, actually, it may have, and it may have been me dragging my feet a little bit in some areas, but honestly, I think it took the right amount of time. Because for me to try to rush into that next season without getting the healing that God's really given me in the last 6 months would have not went well for her. It would have went well for me. It would have been very hard to navigate. Not that it's not hard already, making changes and living together. I went through having never lived alone to now being, and then having my kids every other week for the whole week, to I've been an empty nester for the most part for a little while. Now my son's back home part-time, as he goes to grad school. And so I'm in these constant seasons of change, but I'm gonna have to learn what's it like to live with somebody every day again. I haven't had to do that.
Right.
If I get home and I want to eat cereal, I just eat cereal. I don't have anything I have to do. And so, there's a lot of change that comes with that. And change is good, even though it's not the most comfortable thing. The last thing I want to kind of talk about is you are in multiple seasons of your life. I'm nearing the end of my work season, right? I've got 5 more years that I want to work. And yes, and if you've listened to any of our shows on the stages of the masculine journey, it'll make sense to you. If you haven't, go listen to them, and then it'll make more sense. But, I'm going less from being in the king stage, which I have full authority over whatever my realm is. I still have my own community, but I've been called more and more along the way into the sage stage to really teach and mentor other kings, right? Yes, I still have some king activities, but it's more about what's the legacy that I want to leave behind more than what's the task at hand.
Yeah.
Right. I have my checklist I have to get through every day, but life at this point for me has to be more than a checklist. It has to be a bigger picture thing of, okay, what do I want to impart on this company while I'm still here?
Yeah. From all the seasons I've been through.
Right. From all the seasons I've been through, because I've lived it that way.
Right.
A few years ago, I had a potential opportunity for promotion. I was asked about if I would consider it. And a younger me would have said, yes, absolutely. Because I would be thinking about the more money and how that could provide more things. A well-seasoned me, having gone through different seasons, the answer is very clear of no. Yes, the more money would be good, but what would I have to give up in order to get that? Would be a lot more of my free time. And at this point in my life, time is the most valuable commodity I know I have. We live so much of our life not realizing how valuable time is, that when you can sense that it's somewhere down the road, the end is near. Yeah. You start to live differently with my time is my biggest commodity.
That's right.
Right. And I want to invest that where I want to invest it the most, with my family, my friends, with God, those types of things.
Yep.
Yeah. Work can take away more than it gives a lot of times. And
Right.
you put up with those most of your life, and you're at a good season where you're like, you know what? I don't need to do that.
Right.
I'm fine. I've worked really hard, worked really well, and I'm just going to go on.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, mentioned in the first show, where I'm at with this diagnosis. We don't know which way it's going to go. And I find, Sam, that I've leaned more toward the sage part of my life and pouring into people at work that need some pouring into, need some encouragement to step into other areas and that kind of thing. And, with my son and with, those around me, because, family's the main thing, and you invite Jesus into that. And, I love when you talk about, with your conversation with Misty and the difference is you have Jesus in it, and both of you have Jesus, and you brought that into your life. Right. And those conversations are obviously not like your clip.
Yeah, no, the clip was very business.
You're not even Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. No, I'm really close on that.
Yeah, one. I'm really not.
But anyway, Rodney.
Well, before we go there, I was going to share one other thing. This summer I've had an intern. And he's going into senior year of college, and yes, I have been showing him the nuts and bolts, the X's and O's of what we do. But honestly, more of our conversations is about life things. He's looking at taking a job next year, and I'm having conversations with, you're going to try to start deciding on money only. But the question you got to ask yourself is, am I going to enjoy that job in 3 years, 4 years.
Yep.
Because you'll take the money and then you'll get stuck, and just trying to help him with advice of, okay, think about this differently. He's 21. He probably won't.
Yeah.
But at least he can look back and go, oh, that person tried to tell me, and he'll think about it before the next time.
Yeah. You have to learn one step at a time. And
Yeah.
some of us learn a little quicker. Some of us don't. Yeah.
We have your inherited clip here, Mr. Smoot.
Yeah. I inherited a clip already put in by Jim. So,
Well,
That's a
Jim
real-
had somebody else put it in technical.
well, if
Yeah.
we want to get really
So this is
technical.
really a hand-me-down clip is really what
Yeah.
it is.
Jim just goes out and says, hey, can somebody cut this for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know. I used to have to do it. Now you're doing it.
Let's see, Jim, I'm expecting a response on Facebook. So
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where when you're in trying to get something done like this, and you're talking about all these seasons, and one of the things I've had the last year is a lot of memory loss, and it's just not really, I just can't remember anything. It's like, I just need a prompt. Like today when Andy, you said something
Yep.
about a time frame, and
Yep.
I'm like, oh yeah, there was that time when I came to Christ, and all this stuff was changing and moving, and it was a season. And like Sam was just saying, with a lot of things going on in his life, I don't always see them right now because all I really kind of focus on is just where I'm at. I don't really worry about the past. I don't worry about the future as much. I'm just like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm dealing with. What do I have to deal with today? I am much more, I guess, focused. There's things going on in my life that are all around. And that's one of the things I do think about the clip here is it has a little bit of other stuff that you can hear a few things that are in the clip about where they might be thinking, but again, it's really just with the 20 things you got going on today. How can you focus that down to where it's like 2 or 3 I'm going to really focus on, and the rest of them I'm just going to get done, do whatever, and not worry about them being perfect. They don't have to be. They just have to be done. So if you can go through that and just keep working at one thing at a time, the more you can narrow that down and not have 20 different things going on, it helps. Kids, wives, other things that are going on in your life, just allow them to just be there. Things at work, just let that stuff kind of be there and go and take care of them. But then when you're out of work, really make sure that you're focused back on your life, because that's one of the hardest things I've learned to try to get more situated is my own personal life.
Yeah, what you're talking about is be present. And Jesus tells us to do that. Quit worrying about the past or tomorrow. Worry about where you're at right now.
Yeah.
That's good wisdom.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danny. Let's play the
secondhand lines.
Yeah.
So this is the bar scene. I'll just go ahead and set it up real quick, where Hub is kind of questioning his Garth and Hub are questioning their
purpose.
their purpose and their benefit to society or whatever. And they've got this young nephew that they're just getting to know, and they end up going and kind of mentoring him, but they are challenged by these troublemakers. And Hub has got some experience in handling troublemakers, and you'll hear that in this clip.
Hey, old man, how's that barbecue? Give me some. We're busy. We'll get lost, all right? What did you say? Here's a perfect example of what I've been talking about. Giving everything but discipline. And now his idea of courage and manhood is to get together with a bunch of punk friends and ride around irritating folks too good natured to put a stop to it. Hey, who do you think you are, huh? Just dumb kids, huh? Don't kill him. Hub McCann. I fought in 2 world wars and countless smaller ones on 3 continents. I led thousands of men into battle with everything from horses and swords to artillery and tanks. I've seen the headwaters of the Nile and tribes of natives no white man had ever seen before. I've won and lost a dozen fortunes, killed many men, and loved only one woman with a passion a flea like you could never begin to understand. That's who I am. Get out your knife. Yeah.
Now, boys, you're fixing to let those teenage hormones get you into world of trouble.
Garth, did I ask you to butt in?
You just come out of the hospital.
Well, there's only 4 of them. Yeah, but, well, look,
You fight this one first, and then I'll let you fight the other three after, okay?
Yeah. Watch this, kid.
Now you better pick that knife up, because, son, you're going to need all the help you can get.
Come on, Frankie. Get him, Frankie. Come on, Frankie. Get him, Frankie.
Always spit in the book.
Oh, okay. Hold it wrong, son. Not like this. You always do it like this. Smooth.
It's just a great movie. There's so much that happens in this movie, and you can see the different characters in it and the place that they're in right now in their story. And to understand where Hub is at, because his whole life was fighting. His whole life was being a warrior. And now he's an old, overweight, retired guy sitting around really not doing a whole lot. They sit in their front yard with their shotguns and rifles, shooting people when they come around. You know, at least pointing their guns at them and shooting.
At least the
around them.
salesman anyway.
The salesman,
Yeah, they're always coming because they know they got money. And there's all this scenario going on. And it's just really, really fun to watch the movie where you can think, man, what would my life be like if I had all that? Because really you don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're good.
I'm good.
All
Andy?
right. So I think we want to play, I got a couple, but I think play the rookie clip. But let me set it up real quick. This is the story of Jim Morris. He was a high school teacher and baseball coach, and his baseball team they were taking batting practice, and he let a few go. And he had been a pitcher before, and he had an injury, and he had given up on that dream. And this is a season in his life where it's about to change, where that dream comes back into focus. But these kids have lost they've never developed a desire to have a dream. They just think they're going to grow up in this town and get a job and not really dream. And they challenge him and he challenges them. And we'll talk about it when we get back.
Anybody want to tell me how we lost that game? How about taking a look at the numbers on that scoreboard out there? What do those numbers tell you?
How to get a hold of Bo's Tire Barn.
Quit out there. Well, what is it? Think people don't care about baseball around here? Think the school's going to drop the program? You're just making it easy for them. Sad part about it is I see it and you don't. Most of you, you're going to finish up school here. You're going to work the rigs. You're going to work at Bo's Tire Barn. You're going to raise a family and retire. And you're going to do all that right here in Big Lake. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm doing it. But if you're looking for something more after you're done here, you better get some serious thought as to how you're going to play out the rest of this season.
What difference does it make? I mean, it's not like any of us are getting scholarships.
I'm not talking about college. I'm talking about wanting things in life. I'm talking about having dreams. And all that starts right here, okay? Right here. You don't have dreams, you don't have anything.
Coach, what about you? I mean, you talk about our dreams. I mean, I've been catching yours.
You're not talking about me.
Yeah, come on, Coach. Every time you throw, I got to ice my hand. Every time. You're the one who should be wanting something more.
I've had my shot, all right? Just, we got practice tomorrow. Let's go.
So you take another shot.
It doesn't work like that.
It does if you throw hard enough.
I don't throw hard enough. Now let's hit the showers. Come on.
No, wait a minute. We start winning, you try out again.
Last time I checked, scouts aren't looking for high school science teachers.
Well, not many science teachers throw like you.
Heck of a lot more than a couple of wins to get me to make a fool of myself.
All right. What if we win district? Huh? What if we win district and go to state playoffs? Then?
You serious?
Yeah.
And all I have to do is just find some kind of tryout somewhere.
That's it, man.
All right. Yeah. You win district.
So they actually did win district. And he actually did try out. And he actually did go to the major leagues and pitch in games and struck out some pretty formidable hitters. And so, I mean, it's a great story, but you know, his season of dreaming, he thought was gone, and God brought that in. He's a Christian and motivational speaker now, but that dream became a reality again. And then it became a dream for those kids. I think a lot of them went to college after that. I mean, a great success story. But they all had to do with a change of seasons. He was comfortable being that science teacher. He was good with that. But he was challenged. What happens if they would have never challenged him? What if he never challenged them? And that's, God bringing in and a change of season. It's like a new vision that the Bible talks about of not just being complacent in where you are. There's nothing wrong with that. He said that. And sometimes that's what God calls you to be, is just to stay and be faithful in what you are. But a lot of times he wants us to risk. It's like the guy that, buried his talent instead of investing it. So anyway, I love that clip. It may have not spoke directly to my story, but my story is still developing. I don't know what coming back here will mean and how my life will change. All I know is that to Sam's point, you get these times away. It allows God to heal you, because I needed some healing. It caused me to get quiet. That's what I got. Some of those 2 videos that I just randomly saw that spoke about the time of being away and being by yourself. They really spoke to that time of I really did allow Jesus a deeper place in my heart, in that healing that he did, and the restoration, the confidence, and all the stuff that came with it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. Evaluate your life and where God has you in the season you're in and the season you're headed.
Yeah, you can pick up the show on any podcast format. You can go to masculinejourney.org. You can find all the podcasts there and other information. You can find out about our upcoming boot camp in November 20th to 23rd at
Royston, Georgia, Camp Little Light.
Camp Little Light. Yeah, I knew it was this little light of mine or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And but anyway, and you register there. Go ahead and register, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.